Hi guys, I'm Maria. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on my video and taking the time out of your day to watch it. If you would like, please subscribe below. I would very much appreciate it if you followed me on my journey to see where YouTube brings me. So a couple days ago on Facebook, I posted, I really want to do like a getting to know you video. You know, I posted one video. I'm kind of in a slump of what to do. Because I don't want this channel to just be like cosmetic based. I do want that to be a really big focus of it, but a big part of why I went into YouTube is to find people who relate to me. You know, how, every YouTuber has an audience, and I want to find my audience, and I feel like to truly find that audience, you have to be yourself, you have to be open. Like, there's got to be more reasons than just, you like how I do my makeup, I guess. I have been through so much in my life, and not always in a bad way, but I really want to share my story with you. And on Facebook, I asked you guys, and on Instagram, hey, if you could ask me any question, what would it be? And I even put on there, because if you did grow up with me and stuff, you do know that my life did hit a lot of like ups and downs. And my family, I mean, I don't broadcast everything that happened, and I'm not going to today, but I do want to dig deeper in for people who do have questions, because I am an open book about a lot of my life. But I didn't get a lot of, like, I got a lot more inboxes than I thought I was going to get. And I got a few comments, but I think a lot of people who inboxed me are people who are like, who don't really know me. I was actually really surprised, so thank you. But the main question that I got, and it was a question that I can make this whole video on, is my family's story. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say just my family story, but my life story altogether. I've had a lot of things happen in my life that have made me who I am. I have a very unique personality. I have very unique traits. And I think a lot of that's because I grew up under so many people's like wings. Like, and not even like wings, but there are so many people that have affected me in my life for the better. And you'll kind of get it as I go, but so I really wanted to make a video about my life, about my story, because I have such an interesting story to tell you, and it's a story that I want to tell everybody. I'm going to get probably pretty emotional in this, so kind of bear with me. And I'm not in any way in this video, I am going to get really personal, but I'm not going to mention like every name in my life, just because I don't know how many people feel comfortable with it, everything like that. But I want to share my side of the story of everything and how I view my life. And I want to be able to help people who are going through hard things that feel like they can't necessarily relate to anybody. And our issues can be different, and our stories can be totally different, but you might be able to benefit on how I view things and how I got through all of these things and the people that helped me get through everything. So I'm going to start with, and again, I love my life, and I am so grateful for the life that God gave me and the family that God gave me. I'm adopted. I was adopted as a baby, so I was never, I'm very fortunate that I was adopted as a baby. And my mom, I'm not going to get into why I was put up for adoption, because that is her business and my business. All I'm going to say on that is my adoption was out of nothing but pure love. So, and I know a lot of people aren't blessed like that, and a lot of people are just put up for adoption because they just, and it is what it is. But I'm very fortunate because my mom my biological mother gave me up out of pure love. And I am even more fortunate for the family that I grew up in. I am 100% Mexican. I was born in San Antonio, Texas. I have two older brothers, Ben and Luke. They're both from Seoul, South Korea. They're not brothers. They got that all the time growing up. I don't know if you guys still do, but if you do, sorry. So that right there is my favorite thing about my family. And growing up, we would never tell people like, oh yeah, I have Asian brothers. I would just like let them come over and be like, oh yeah, that's my brother. I loved I loved my family. My dad, my dad is, and if you know my dad, because he's a really big public figure, at least in my hometown, so if you know him, y'all probably know. My dad's a really good guy, and my mom was this angel, and I know I say was, and I'll get into that. So as a child, I had a very loving family. About 2 months after I was adopted, I think it was 2 months, I don't remember the exact timelines, my mom got diagnosed with lung cancer. My dad, I remember my dad telling me a while ago that, he was, a fright came in, a fright, that's funny. He was kind of scared, something could potentially happen, like I could get taken away or something. But I never did. It was never an issue or anything, thank God. Let me drink of water. Bear with me as I drink, because I'm talking a lot. Also, water, good skin. Anyway, so when I was about 2 months old, my mom got lung cancer. She conquered it, defeated it, whooped its butt. Because, she's got 3 kids, and she's thinking, man, I got 3 kids. I can't throw in the towel. And she didn't. My mom, when I tell you, like, if you could have defined this woman in one word, it's a warrior. She's just the strongest person I've ever known. My mom was sick almost my entire life, and I think that I'll save that for a different video to get into like great detail of what. But my mom had brain cancer on and off she had lung cancer 2 months after I was adopted. She had brain cancer a couple times with cysts. She had other health issues, and it was really hard to watch my mom go through that. And from me being freshly adopted at 2 months old, or not 2 months old, but 2 months after I was adopted, she was sick up until I was 16 years old. I said goodbye to my mom because she was so sick quite a few times. I have so many memories of being a child, like in a hospital, hanging out with my mom, and I just but it is hard, but I also, with her being so sick, I have had so many relationships with family members or people that are so close to my family that are like family members that I wouldn't have. So my mom so in the 5th grade, she was sick again. When I was in the 5th grade, she got really sick again. Brain cancer. Like I said, I've said goodbye to my mom a couple of times, but she defeated it. It came back. She defeated it. It came back, but she was so strong. And throughout the years, she would never give up fighting. It's like she knew she had to be there for her kids. But growing up, me being the only girl in my family and everything, it's hard. And I'm not saying it wasn't hard for my brothers, because my one brother was my mom's ride or die. Like, I'm not saying the favorite child, but him and my mom he and my mom, one of my brothers, had this unbreakable bond. Don't talk to me like that. My cat's whining over there. They just had this unbreakable bond, and when my mom died, it was hard. It hit all of us differently. But being the only girl in the family and, growing up, I was so curious, especially being adopted. I think I might have taken more time on thinking, especially when I was older, in the areas that my mom was really sick. I had like this feeling like, and again, I'm not trying to hurt any feelings in this. I'm just being honest about how I felt, because I know I'm not the only one out there that's felt the way that I had. But I would like sit in my room or just kind of think like, if I had never been adopted, what would have happened? And I know, because I'm friends with a lot of people who are adopted. My husband's best friend is adopted, and he has a very similar story to mine too. And anyway, like you can't help but to think like, how would my life be different? Like, who am I? And I know, being adopted, growing up, everyone again thinks, who am I? Like, you feel like you're missing a really big piece of you. And I think with my mom being so sick, I was never lacking a mother, but sometimes I was lacking a mother figure because my mom was sick. And it's fine. I grew up fine. But I think, being adopted, you think about that more. But I am really grateful for all the female figures that I've had in my life. But again, I'm getting distracted. You really think more about, who am I? Who would I be? Being adopted, I've always had this like missing piece feeling almost. I always felt like I was missing a piece, and I'll get into that a little bit more in like 3 minutes because I want to finish out my mom's story. So let's see, what grade was I in? Like 5th grade. My mom was continuously sick growing up, and when I hit high school, it was really bad. My mom passed away, and I don't want to say finally, but when you are so sick for so long, and if you have parents that have been sick for a long time, or if you have a friend, a sibling, anything like that, you'll know what I mean when she did finally pass away when I was 16 years old. She passed away actually the morning of my sophomore homecoming, which I still went to. I actually remember going to that homecoming, and I went to a Catholic school at the time, and I remember going, and the boy that I was with at the time, I honestly couldn't even believe that he stuck by me and all that, you know, and my friends, and just the friendships and the relationships I had at that time were amazing. Anyway, but I remember going into that homecoming, and the main reason why I decided to go to the homecoming is because I remember bringing that pink ombre decked out crystal dress to the hospital to show my mom because I was so excited. And I still went because she saw that dress and she would want me to go. Anyway, but I remember going in there, and the priest that was there made a comment to me. He goes, "Why are you here? You should be at home with your brothers and your family." And I looked at him and I said, the only people I want to be with right now are my friends. Like, I love my brothers, I love my dad, but they need to grieve and I need to grieve, and we all grieve differently. I didn't last long at the dance. So, I then went, after my mom died, I completely lost myself. I was so depressed. I quit dancing, that wasn't necessarily like the biggest part of my life, but the one thing that I quit, and to this day I really regret doing it, is I quit musical theater. My mom put me in a play when I was in, I want to say it was in kindergarten. The first play I was ever in was The King and I had been in dozens of musical theater productions and everything growing up. Like, that was my thing. I danced for 16 years. I liked to dance, but I think my mom knew it wasn't what my passion was, and she found out I could sing, and she was like, whoa. So I did musical theater growing up, and when my mom died, I put in the towel. I did like one final song, like performance at a talent show, and I couldn't even make it off like on that. And anyway, so I really lost my way, and it put me in that place where, again, being adopted, it's like I just got gypped. I felt so robbed at that moment because I'm adopted, which, again, I love being adopted. Like, I don't love, you know what I mean. It is what it is, and my life turned out great, but I was adopted. I lost that. I felt like I had already lost one mom and never had a bad feeling about it, but I lost that mom, and then I lost the mom that was supposed to take care of me. I was 16. I never got my eyebrows waxed before. I didn't know how to put makeup on. I didn't know how to do any of that because I didn't have a mom to do that with me. My dad did send me to one of my aunts in a different state, which they brought me to the makeup counters, and I'm so grateful for that because without that I would just be clueless. But it's not mom. You know, it's not your mom. And I have an aunt, my Aunt Margaret, who is the biggest person to thank for who I am today. She was the biggest female role model in my life, and I'm not going to get started on that because she's literally, to this day, my best friend and my ride or die. She's my mother figure. I call her up whenever I need to talk. So I didn't have that mom figure, and I just felt lost, you know. My adopted mom put me up for adoption, and then my mom, the one that's supposed to teach me everything, is gone. So I was never good in school, but I really, really took a dip in the last, 8th grade through sophomore year. With my mom being so sick, I didn't want it. I didn't care. I didn't have a care in the world. And growing up, I never realized it, but now I do realize why I didn't care about anything and all that. And I just felt like I had this huge missing piece. And so after losing my way, and I'm trying to find this missing piece, and I try to fill that missing piece with, like, boyfriends and crappy friends and all of that. But one day my dad told me, he goes, if you don't clean up your act, I'm sending you away. And he did it, and I shouldn't say did it. Well, he did do it, but he did it out of love, and he did what was best for me. So this summer after my mom died, my dad said, let's take a tour of the school, and I did, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's cool, it's nice, whatever. And after we get in the car, and he goes, what do you think? And I said, I like it, it'd be cool. He goes, good, because you're coming here next fall. I went to boarding school for my junior and senior year, which was the greatest decision my dad could have made for me. Like, I could not thank him enough for that. I graduated with, like, A's and B's, which I never thought was going to happen. But in between me, going, while I was gone at school, and this boarding school, in so many ways helped me find the real person that I am. And again, I always still had that feeling of a missing piece. I'm going to kind of detour for a second here. While I was away at school and kind of coming back home and stuff, I remember coming home, my dad being, like, unbelievably happy. My dad started dating somebody, and I met her before I went to school and everything, but my dad remarried, and my stepmom is, again, an amazing person. Like, I may have lost, and it, honest to God, took me up until, I'm 27 now, and it took me up till this year to realize how blessed I am with all the mother figures in my life. Even though I lost one, the main one, I have so many, and I'm going to get more into that. So I did want to just kind of put in that my stepmom is amazing. She is so amazing, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life, because now she is there for me at any second of every day too. So after going to this boarding school, I started getting really involved with my music again. Like I said, I was really finding myself. I really loved that school, and I was doing improv. I would spend hours, and when I tell you hours, I literally mean, if I wasn't in class, I was in the art building or the music building with some of my guy friends, like, writing songs. And some of the girls, like, we would all just go and write songs. I loved that school, and it helped me find myself in so many ways. I also got suspended for something real ugly, but we won't get into that. But, like, that school was everything to me, and it helped me find my voice again. So my junior year, oh man, I don't remember if it was my junior or senior year. I think it might have been my senior year. No, it wasn't. It was my junior year, because it wasn't even a year after my mom died. Anyway, my junior year, it was, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 months into the school year, I was in the library, doing homework. I was on Facebook, kind of doing all my stuff, and I log into my Facebook, and I have a message in my mail, like in my inbox. It was a name that I've never seen before. I clicked on this girl's profile. I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but she looks like me. Like, she looks like me. So I opened the message, and I read it, and it said, I'm exposing you, Judith. Okay, my sister's name is Judy, but it said, my name's Judy, and I'm your sister. And to this day, when I think about it, that feeling is amazing. That missing piece was just, it just had found its place. It was insane. It was like when I was missing that piece the most, right after I was finally found my happiness and everything, that missing piece came to me, and it was my biological sister. She found me. It was an amazing feeling. So I just remember sitting there stunned at this message. Like, I gotta call my dad. I had so many feelings rushing through my head, but the one thing that was in my head was, I don't know if I wasn't 18 yet. I just had so many feelings, you know. I was like, I don't even know if I can talk to this girl. So I even told her, I was like, I don't know if I can talk to you. I gotta call my dad. Like, I don't know what to do. So that second, I picked up my phone, I called my dad, I said, Dad, this girl messaged me on Facebook, she looks just like me. What do I do? She says she's my sister, and my dad was so calm. And he said, send me a picture, and what's her name? I told him his name, or her name, my sister's name. My sister had mentioned my mom's name in the message. I took a picture of my screen, I sent it to my dad, and my dad said, Maria, that's your sister. Growing up, so I'm going to kind of backtrack. When I was first adopted, I don't want to say it was a semi-open adoption, but my biological mom and my mom wrote back and forth. So they stayed in contact when I was very young. It did stop. My mom got sick young, like you know, and the writing stopped. And so my mom and my sister got curious and they Googled me. And when they Googled me, my mom's obituary came up. So my sister then did everything and, you know, messaged me, and she was, I'm really sorry to hear about your mother. It broke my heart and all this. And I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, are you really who I think that who you say you are? And again, growing up, my mom did know that I had siblings, I believe. I don't remember, but I want to say my mom, or had a feeling that I had siblings, because I remember her telling me, I think that you have siblings. Like, I think that you have biological siblings. I was very blessed. My brothers didn't get that, and I did. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity that I have with my biological family. So anyway, this girl messages me. She says she's my sister. I dig in and I'm like, oh my God, I just found my missing piece. Like, when I tell you that my missing piece was solved, it was solved. And to this day, 11 years later, I don't have that missing piece anymore. So throughout about a year and a half, my sister and I, we continued to talk. And she is in San Antonio with my mom and everything. I was the only one who was put up for adoption, but again, it was nothing but out of pure love. I have 2 younger half-brothers, and I have a full-blooded sister, Judy, who I'm hoping one day will be on this channel with me. Anyway, so within that year and a half, you know, we talked a lot, and we have family in Chicago, and she had mentioned, I believe it was after we graduated high school. We graduated the same year. She's 15 months younger than me, and I can help that, but we're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, I remember her saying, I'm going to Chicago. We have family out there, so I'm going to be there. It's so funny that we're going to be so close. And it just stuck in my head. I mentioned it to my dad, not really thinking anything of it, but you know, my mom, before she died and growing up, she would always tell me, like, I promise you, we are going to find your family. If you turn 18, or when you turn 18, if you want to, I promise you, we will find them. I know how to. And like, she was so determined to do that for me growing up, which is amazing, because there are families that won't allow that, and I just, again, am so blessed. Unfortunately, I didn't know if that was going to happen anymore. My mom passed away, but I remember being home on a break, because we would go home like every 6 weeks for like a week, I think, or a weekend anyway. I remember going home, and they were going to Chicago for New Year's, and my stepmom, my stepsister lived in Chicago at the time. And I went down for breakfast, you know, we're eating, and and Connie, my stepmom, she goes, do you want to go to Chicago and meet your family? And I just remember when she asked me, I was like, yes, so bad. Again, I'm so emotional. This is so crazy. It happened so long ago, and I'm still like this. I was like, yes, I do. And I remember my dad, he wasn't hesitant, but he was protective. You know, my dad knows I've been hurt. He didn't want me to get hurt again, but he let me do it, and it was just the best thing ever. So a few months later, I told my sister, like, let's make this happen. I want to meet you. And we arranged to meet at a restaurant. It's either Excellence or Experience. I don't remember. And at this restaurant in Chicago, we met them to meet my biological family. And actually, it's kind of funny because a couple years earlier, is when my dad told me he was marrying my stepmom at the same restaurant. So it's kind of funny. Didn't mean for that to happen. Anyway, so my sister and I organized, let's meet each other. You know, you, me, my mom, my family. I want to meet you, and I did, and I can literally describe it to the T. I remember the outfit I was wearing. I remember the scarf I was wearing. I remember that day going shopping with them, but I remember walking to the block, and this restaurant has windows. It's like all windows. And I remember looking in the window and locking eyes with my mom and my sister. And I remember Judy looking at my mom saying that I see her. And I remember just having this feeling, and this feeling that I had, I can't even explain. I have never felt, and to this day I still haven't felt, the feeling of pure and utter happiness. Like, I can't explain it. I walked in the door, and without a second, I felt my mom hold me. And when I felt her hold me, it was like I almost have felt that before. It was the craziest experience, because it was like I have felt that before. When they say that you have like a biological connection with somebody, you really do. So we all sat down for this breakfast, and I don't want to say it was silent, because it wasn't silent, but it took us a while to like kind of realize, like, oh my God, is this really happening? Am I really meeting you? I remember my mom, Judy, and I, we all laughed at the same time, and everybody was just like, what? Like, if you ever heard me laugh, I hate my laugh. I know my sister feels the same way. Our laughs are so loud and so unique and different. Like, you could pinpoint our laughs from anybody, but they're identical. Like, we all had the same laugh, and it was like all this, like, this missing piece that I had growing up was gone. It had just been filled. So I ended up spending a lot of time with them. We went shopping. My mom bought me I remember how cool it was. Like, she bought me one of those really cool pink hoodies, like with the sequins on it. I'm like, and I treasure that thing. I still have that hoodie to this day. I love that hoodie. Anyway, so fast forward a couple years. It did take me a couple years to do this. I went to Texas to meet, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze again. Whew. Excuse me. So it took me a few years, but a few years later, I went to Texas. I think I went for 10 days. I went from Mother's Day through their birthdays. My mom and my sister's birthday are back to back. And I wanted to meet my family. I wanted to meet where I belonged. And I shouldn't even say where I belong, but it does almost, if you're adopted and you've ever met your family, like if you've ever had the opportunity, you'll kind of understand. I'm sure you'll get where I'm coming from. Like, I'm sure you'll understand that it is almost a feeling of a sense of belonging. So I went to Texas, and I remember being so nervous on the airplane. I mean, like, so nervous. Like, I'm about to meet like my aunts and my uncles and like my biological grandparents, like all of these people. Like, will they like me? Will they not like me? And I'm so grateful for the opportunities. I remember when I got there, my mom had brought some of my family with them to greet me, and it was the most welcoming welcome I could have ever imagined. It was amazing. So throughout the years, I got really close with my biological sister, and to this day, she's my best friend. She's literally my ride or die. I really wanted to like talk about how I felt though, like the whole like missing piece. If you're adopted and you feel like that, it can be found again. And I'm not saying like go out, like, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's adoption is different. But if you feel like, and your family supports you and you feel if you can meet them, I would suggest it to anybody. Even if it's not somebody that you necessarily want to meet, like if you're really on the fence, like, but they want to meet you and everything, I really do suggest doing it, because if you can't get the relationship I got, and I know the relationship that I now try to see my family all the time. My sister stood in my wedding. I got married last year, and my biological mom and my stepmom and my Aunt Margaret, the mother figures that I now have in my life, all linked arms and walked down the aisle together. Like, anything is possible in your life. And if you have the chance to be able to meet them, it will bring you some sort of closure. Even if you don't end up having a relationship with them, it will do something for you. It will give you that closure that you're looking for. I just, growing up, my family, brothers and I really did face challenges of, like with my mom passing away and being sick for 16 years. And I think that it really made us strong. My brothers and I, we were never like super, super close growing up. Like, my oldest brother, Luke, has always kind of looked out for me and everything. And Ben, my brother Ben, has, but we weren't raised like super close. And I think if my mom had been healthier and stuff, we would have been able to take more like family vacations, but I do have the best memories with my family, like, going up to our cabin up north and everything. But anybody that, God, it's just, I don't even know, like, kind of explain how I feel and like the words that I want to say. And I kid you not, I've rehearsed this 100 times. Being adopted makes you feel so confused growing up. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you do wonder all the way until, even if you can find that closure, like, who would I be? And now that I've met my biological family, our worlds are two completely different things. They're so in depth with our culture that I crave that. Like, now that I've been there, I love going there. And even though I will say, it is, when I tell you it's a different world, how we live, I really mean it's a different world. Growing up, we never really got like bashed for being a biracial family, because my brothers were Asian and I was Mexican and my parents were white. Like, that was never really a thing. But I do remember having one friend growing up that his parents wouldn't let him hang out with me because of it. But I think that was more like religious based and everything, and everyone has their opinion, but we never got judgment. But being adopted, there's just so many things I could say and so many feelings, but I think the biggest one that we all feel is that missing piece. And I want to share my family story and what I shared with you today. And if you guys have questions, I can definitely make like a part 2 to this, and I would actually love to. I just don't, like, ask me questions, ask me like anything, and I'll be open about it. I could just share so much and so many questions, but basically I really want to get my story out there for people who have been curious about what it was like to grow up in my household and what it was like to be adopted, and then my mom dying, because it wasn't like she just died of like a freak accident either. Like, I watched my mom suffer and die literally my entire life, and she wasn't like hooked up to like machines my entire life or anything. Like, she was able to like get up and walk around, but it was limited near the end. It really was. She couldn't go out a lot. But one thing my mom always did was her nails, and that stuck with me. Like, she was the most beautiful person. But really, what I'm trying to get out of all of this, and like, making this video, I know I'm all over, but it's one of those videos that it's so hard to put everything into one and not get distracted and tell in between stories and everything. But I think the main message that I want to get out there is that life can throw you some really shitty curveballs. Like, I mean, just really bad ones. Like, and I've been thrown some really crappy curveballs. I sometimes think that I have like the worst luck. And all of those curveballs that were thrown to me have made me such a strong person. I love helping people. I love being able to relate to people. And I can be really like standoffish in person. I'm kind of awkward. I don't like affection in person and everything. And I think that's why I'm so vocal on social media, because I feel like that's how I can get out and talk to people. And I want people to know that they're not alone. Like these curveballs that they throw you, whether you're adopted or not, like, you know, whether you grew up in like a foster home, or if you are adopted, or even if like you have step families that you know, like when my mom or when my dad got remarried, I gained a step brother and a stepsister. You know, I have a huge family now with siblings that I never thought I was going to have. Even though life throws you really, really crappy curveballs, you can overcome those curveballs and become an amazing, strong person, because those curveballs really do give you the strength to get through things later on in life. Without, like, I would not be me without the things that, or without the cards that I've been dealt through my life. I grew up very fortunate, and yes, I had a really rocky childhood when it came to having a healthy mom, a mom being there for a daughter, like the ways that we crave, you know. I never got that with my mom, but I did get it with other people. And it may have not been the same, but it took me up until I was an adult to realize how blessed I was as a child, even though I wasn't able to feel that as a kid. And honestly, growing up, I hated my life. I hated that God, or whoever, if you're not religious, but I hated that whoever was in charge of my fate did this to me. Growing up, I was like, oh, boo me, like, boo hoo, I'm adopted, my mom died, like, feel bad for me, my life sucks. I shouldn't have felt like that. I should have realized that I have some really kick-ass mother figures in my life. My aunts growing up were so good to me, my female cousins, and to this day, thank you for always checking up on me. Like, just to this, like, it took me up until a couple years, like now and like last year, to realize, and again, I'm 27, it took me now to realize how great my life turned out. I may have lost the person that was supposed to guide me and be there for me all through my life, but I did have her in so many ways. So there's like so many like messages and stories in this video, and I know it's a really like out there video and like it's confusing, and I know I got sidetracked and everything, but this is a really hard, like, I just have so many things, like so many things I didn't mention and everything, and I would love to continue my story on YouTube and everything. So if you guys have any questions, please comment them, please send them to me, direct message me. And again, I'm sorry that this is kind of so here, and here. I even have like notes here that I keep looking at. It's just, there's so many side stories with every little story, because I've had gone through so many things. But I'm so blessed in my life that it's unreal. And if you're adopted, or if you and being adopted too, gave me a lot of depression issues and anxiety. And one thing I still to this day suffer from, and thank God that I have a husband that understands it, is I have a lot of abandonment issues. I need friends all the time, because growing up, I think I felt so alone growing up that now I cherish my friendships. I cherish anybody that shows me love. You know, like my family, I want to see them every second of every day. My biological family, I wish I could see them every second of every day. My brothers, oh my God, I am so grateful for my two older brothers. I don't tell them enough, because they kept me so strong. My oldest brother, I think I've seen him cry like twice in my life. When my mom was sick, he stayed strong. You know, he would let me hop into bed with him if I was like just done. If I just couldn't do it, he would make sure I could sleep at night. He would make sure that I was good. My two older brothers, I didn't cherish them like I should have, because they're amazing. And I wouldn't have gotten through any of that when I was young without them. My two older brothers, when I was in the age of like 0 to 10, when our mom was sick, they were my protectors. I'm just getting so distracted in so many ways, but I really want to share with you how blessed I am. And whenever I tell, like, you know, whenever people are like, oh, like, when the people find out that my mom passed, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want you to be sorry. I want everyone to appreciate the moms that they have and the dads that they have, the parents that they have, because even if you don't necessarily disagree with them or anything, people don't have lives like that. I know one of my really good friends was adopted, and she did not have a good childhood. And she was adopted, and it's sad. And I feel like I just have such a story to tell. Like, so many, I just feel like a lot of people out there could really relate to me in a lot of ways. And I want to share mine, because why not? Why not share it with the world? So if you do want a part 2, or if you guys do have any questions or anything, please let me know. Please comment below. Please support my channel. I have so much I want to do, and I just really want you guys to get to know me into every detail so I can be my true self on my channel. So thank you for taking the time to be here with me. And again, I am so sorry. This was such an ADD video and like kind of everywhere and emotional and everything, but y'all, just be grateful for the life that you have. Because everyone's life is different, but your life is so special. And your life story is so special in its own way. And I feel like right now, with everything that's happening in the world, we really need to take a second and think about, I really do have a blessed life. So thank you for joining me on this in this video. I really appreciate it. And again, if you guys have any other questions, I'd love to make a part 2. Just message me, comment them below, get a hold of me on Facebook, Instagram. Please, I would appreciate it. Thank you.